Good morning, Oracles. Happy 420 and Tesla earnings day. We saw a great day for Tesla yesterday, up almost 2.5% on the day. Sort of broke a little bit above the sideways trading that we've had, but then it came down a little bit after hours due to Netflix bombing on their earnings. And as of this recording, we are down just slightly, but we kind of anticipated that in a gap down due to the Netflix earnings. So let's see how we're going to trade today going into our earnings. We did have very, very low volume yesterday. I think there's still a lot of breath holding going on, waiting to see what's going to happen with today's numbers. We were only at 16 million shares trading hands, and that's way below normal. Normally we're around the upper 20 million share range. So let's see how earnings go today, see how we trade today. We are still potentially looking for a breakout or a breakdown today. Again, doesn't have to happen. We are just kind of in a range where we could have it happen, and earnings is usually a catalyst that can cause this. So we'll see how we go today with the trading, see if volume is maybe a little bit higher than yesterday. RSI is still right in the middle around 55, so we can realistically go either way on this. So again, the way I play Tesla, I'm just holding it. But if we do happen to pull down after earnings, I'm obviously going to be a buyer on this and be buying heavier. So I'm going to wait to see what happens after earnings. I will be getting out of work early to be able to dive into these numbers as soon as I get home. If I get an opportunity to put out a video ahead of the call, I will. Otherwise, I will wait till after the call. Again, we usually get some good information on the call. But again, I don't really think Elon's going to be on, so I don't know how much information we're going to get. Last year when Elon was not on the call, it was kind of boring, but it was a more professional meeting, as a lot of people have mentioned before. Some people are on the side of let's keep it professional and by the numbers. Other people like when Elon's on there. I personally like when he's on there, but I also do like hearing about the numbers of the company and the fundamentals. Elon just, for me, happens to give me some tips and some insight as to what is going on in his brain for the future of the company. Tesla does have a history of surprising us with a beat on the numbers, and I don't think today is going to be any different. I think we are going to see a surprise beat, and I think when it comes to the forecast, I think we're going to see the same information that we have gotten previously, which is they're going to probably maybe downplay Q2 if they even talk about it due to Shanghai being shut down. But when it comes to long term, they're probably going to be reiterating the 50% year over year targets, which is just going to be the same targets that they've been talking about every single quarter for the last year. But diving into the numbers for what I have forecasted for tonight, we know that we've got about 305,000 vehicles produced and just over 310,000 vehicles delivered. So I've got revenues coming in at 16.7 billion. I know that's a little bit bullish, but I think that we're going to hit that because they were prioritizing the higher end vehicles for Q1. I have gotten word that that has changed, and now they're strictly just prioritizing date of order. So that is probably changed now, but I think we're still going to see those numbers, especially with the FSD vehicles priced into Q1. So I've got average vehicle sales price around $52,300. Might actually be higher than that because they had so many of the high-end vehicles that were coming out in Q1. We'll see how that plays out. I have total revenues at $18.5 billion and a 30.1% gross vehicle margin. We know that Elon has one tranche left for his CEO package, and that is hitting gross vehicle margins of 30% 4 quarters in a row. He has hit it 2 quarters in a row, and now he has the 2 toughest quarters that we need to hit it on, which is going to be the ramp phases for Berlin and Austin, and that's usually when they take a big hit in margins. So we'll see how this happens. I've got him at 30.1%. I think if they hit that number, we are going to see great excitement coming out of this. And now again, great excitement for numbers like that does not always translate into the stock price going up. Again, anything can happen, but I have got them sitting there. So I think that if they hit 30% gross margins, again, this for me is I'm seeing things long term. So, fundamentally, if the company is putting out these solid numbers now, I truly don't care what happens to the stock price in the near term. Honestly, if it pulls back on great numbers, just a great buying opportunity, a better buying opportunity for all of us. So that'd be an even better reason to jump in even heavier. And so I've got operating margins at 17.4%. This is quite a jump from Q4. And even though we've got 2 factories ramping, which we know are, added costs that Elon has said himself, there's so many unknowns that come when you're ramping a new factory. And these 2 new factories are next level factories. So yes, they learned a lot from Shanghai, but there's a lot of new stuff that they're learning from Austin and Berlin as well. But I think because they had ramping in Shanghai going so well, except for the last 3 weeks, but the last 3 weeks were in Q2. So there's really only like 6 days of downtime in Q1. I still think we had enough time to offset a lot of those costs because Shanghai's costs have come down significantly since they are at a much higher ramp. So just the law of large numbers when it comes to scaling, since Shanghai has scaled so high, their costs came way down to offset the costs that were going to come out of Austin and Berlin. So I've got them at 17.4%, and I think that's going to be a big number. If we see that number coming in higher than we saw in Q4, that's going to be very positive for the company and could be an actual driving force that moves the stock forward and actually go green instead of selling off. And now the number that everyone is looking at, EPS. I have their EPS coming in at $2.73. Looks like consensus estimates ranging anywhere from about like $1.80 up to $2.52 from what I have seen, with a median price like $2.26 to $2.30. So I'm coming in at $2.73. And so I am well above all of the consensus estimates, even on the high end. And it looks like for consensus estimates for revenue, looking at between 17 and $18 billion, depending on who you're looking at. So I am above revenue estimates there as well. And so we will see how the stock trades over the course of the day leading up to the earnings tonight. It'll be very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what we have for numbers. Let me know in the comments below what you guys have for your predictions for earnings. What do you think we are going to get for EPS? What do you think we're going to get for revenues? Do you think they're actually going to be over 15% when it comes to operating margins? And do you think we're going to be over 30% when it comes to gross vehicle margins? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.